All right, welcome to another episode of Cocktails and Conversations with Adriana LaFay. I am Adriana LaFay, and today I am working with self-published author S.M. Bibbs. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I am doing excellent. I can't complain. All right, so let's jump right into it. Self-published author, how does that sound?
It has a little bit of a ring to it.
Just a little bit?
Yeah, just a little bit. I'm kind of growing into it a little bit. I think when I first looked into actually writing, I did try to go into doing a more traditional publishing style. Mm-hmm. And I guess due to probably a lack of information or a lack of a lot of things, I just decided to do the whole self-publishing route. But I think recently, since I tell people that I did self-publish it, that I feel as though they are a lot more understanding as far as the processes and everything that relates to it, and I guess some of the challenges that go through it. For the people who kind of don't know what self-publishing is and other aspects of media, it'll kind of be like being an independent artist.
Right.
Or, so it's like everything that, granted, you do have 100% creative control of it, mm-hmm. but it is a quite long process if it is your first project that you're putting out. So you do, well, with me, I do have a little bit of what's the word? A little bit of pride that I did put, that the book is 100% me.
Yeah.
But then it's also like, it is also like my baby. So I am like very protective of it because
very protective. Yep. Blood, sweat, and tears.
All of it. All
right.
of it.
So I told you about the process. I told you it's not gonna be easy. Like at the end of the day, once you get that finished work, it's amazing to me. Like, wow, this is mine. I created this. Right. But to get to that point, wow.
Yeah. Exactly. It was weird because when I first got the book ordered to print, I was in Atlanta at the time, so it was supposed to be sent to the house I was staying at the time.
Okay.
But a delay happened. So I was already in Houston. I came back to Houston and it already got sent back to Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
So I asked my mom to go through it and see whatever. So my mom actually had the original reaction that people will see once they finally see their mm-hmm. first book coming up. So she had that reaction for me. Aww. So maybe like a week after when I got it, I was like, oh, okay, like, oh, here's my book. So like my mom basically had that proud
took your
mom. Yeah, like she basically took my moment because the book got sent to the house first. So
aww.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I know. that sucks. Well, okay, so tell the people a little bit about you and, mm-hmm. and your background. Where you from?
Well, I'm from the people who don't live in Georgia. I'm from Atlanta. But from the people who live in Atlanta, I'm from College Park. So College Park is southwest of Atlanta. So I guess to put names to it, that's where like 2 Chainz, Usher, Ludacris, myself, all of us are from there. So I'm from there. I come from a pretty big extended family, pretty normal size, immediate family. And I've lived in 3 different cities in 6 years. Well, I spent majority of my life in Atlanta and then spent 3 years in Spartanburg, South Carolina, going on 3 years in Houston. That's what it is as far as like me on that side. As far as entertaining, I feel as though I've always had a flair for the theatrics, or in a sense of just telling stories, regardless if they're true or not. And though I am mature, I feel as though I dive into my childhood self a lot. So I'm a big cartoon watcher. Um, I feel as though the older I get, the more I should appreciate when things were more innocent in life. So that's pretty much who I am. I'm super competitive. I have my family is full of men, so um, yeah, it's I'm super competitive, and it's kind of weird because I know we'll probably get into this later, but um, I was always into sports, and growing up, I always wanted to be like a comedian or an actor. So it was kind of weird for me when I finally was like realized that I was blessed with the gift of writing. That it was like, oh, like this is kind of weird, but it was kind of interesting in the sense of like I don't have stage fright. Like I truly don't have stage fright. I don't struggle with public speaking at all. But also in a sense, it was just real interesting for me to just be able to like write a book and just be like, oh, these are actually like my words. So in a sense, all of the things that all of the things that I've grew up with, and all of the things that I grew up with, and all of those things that kind of made me who I am now, kind of pushed me to actually, thrive and things like that. So that's
I
pretty
think you
much
definitely could have made it as a comedian.
A weird story about that, right? So like, which I do appreciate, but I've somebody in Houston was actually telling me that I should be a stand-up comedian. But I felt as though she probably said that in a sense, so like I will leave her alone.
Okay.
So it'll be like, hey, like, oh, okay, like if I tell this guy to be a stand-up comedian and he go up there and he bomb, he'll be too embarrassed to come back and talk to me again. So it was like, oh, like I am funny. Wait, are you actually saying this as like truly, or are you saying this because you don't want to tell me I'm not funny? So that's the only thing. That's the only thing of why I haven't done it yet. But maybe I'll be somebody ghostwriter or something.
Yeah, you definitely could do that.
Yeah.
So what's the title of your book?
It is Rymon Blues.
Nice.
It is a.
Love that cover.
Thank you.
And what made you decide to write it?
So I actually had the vision of Rymon Blues when I was like 4th grade, I want to say. And I just remember one day I was playing like hide and seek or something like that, and the vision just came. It was like, why don't you like? So I guess to digress a little bit, like I always had this feeling of coming up with really fun movie plots. Like I'm a real, well, to say really good would be an insult, but I am a great movie recommender. That's probably verbally not the correct way to say that, but if I say something is good, it's pretty much good. So when I was super young, I always was like, okay, well, like, oh, it'll be cool to see a movie like this. It'd be cool to see a movie like that, or whatever the case may be. So I've always loved history. I've always been scared of it in a sense of it, but I got older and realized like my fear of it was just me being worried that it will repeat itself, but I enjoyed the fact of learning about history and things like that. So, so I was like 10 years old and I had the vision of it or whatever, and I was like, it'll be really cool if somebody just wrote the movie. And I remember I was watching something on Netflix, and I was like, that's my idea, not of Rymon Blues, but it was about a book that I was like, oh, that'd be really cool. I did it, that'd be really. And literally everything that I thought about was actually happening in the thing, and I got so upset because I was like, that's literally my idea. So my mom was like, my mom was trying to get me into track, so I didn't want to do track. So my mom was like, you should embrace your writing ability. I don't really want to do that either. I was in college and people know me to write 10-page papers in like 2 hours or something like that. So like I was a kid in high school who never submitted a rough draft. I just wrote it and turned it in, and I would get like a 90 on it or something like that. So I always had a gift of it, but it never really dawned on me to actually write a book until it was like, I mean, it was in the process of me moving from Spartanburg to moving to Houston, where I didn't have anything to do. And I was like, why not do it? Like, you know, I feel like God gives everybody the ability to maybe not be rich, but I feel like God gives everybody the ability to do something that they can truly enjoy life in, you know, like outside of the necessities of like taking care of bills and things like that. I feel like everybody has a gift that they can truly enjoy without being, you know, paid for it or wondering about like if this is going to, you know, make it or break it. Those who are truly blessed are the ones who can make that hobby and make, you know, a livelihood out of it.
Right.
So that's just kind of what was my motivation behind it. I was like, well, you know, I ain't got nothing else to do, so why not write a book? So
why not, right?
why not?
What's the main thing you want readers to take away from your book?
So the name of the book is Rymon Blues. Rymon is a fictional town in southern Mississippi.
Okay.
And it follows the story about, I guess, the story is narrated by the main character's son, who tells a story about how his father and the people of Rymon navigated these changes that happened in the post, you know, Reconstruction era and the post, and I guess pre-Depression eras, you know, South.
Okay.
And the changes that these people make, coming from, you know, former slaves and things like that, and just how they adapt to when a new mayor comes in town. So that's what Rymon is. So to answer your question, Rymon Blues is not. Blues is a play on. So the whole title, to say, is a play on rhythm and blues,
right,
as you know, is formulated by Black people.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like you can drop a penny from the sky and hit a bunch of books about, you know, like Civil War or slavery or, you know, whatever. But there's not a lot that can truly tell you about how our people felt when they were free from actually slavery,
right,
but they didn't have an identity amongst themselves.
Right.
So Rymon Blues, what I want people to take away is like, it's not a book per se. Like it's a book by, you know, by verbiage and things like that, but it's a feeling. Like when you read the book, you get a feeling about it. You feel what the characters felt in that time where they are coming from, you know, slave descendants, or you see them trying to make $1 out of 15 cents or whatever. Like you feel what they are feeling while also learning, okay, like all of them know, well, I am free, like I'm no longer a slave, but what's my identity? What are my passions? You know, like, okay, like I can do this freely, I can do that freely, but I'm not still free because I don't have an identity for myself. Like I have yet to establish a legacy.
Right.
So Rymon Blues is more of a feeling than it is a book. You can read it and you get the feeling from each character. Each character gives you a different feeling. Like I you know, there's couples in there, kids are included, families, things like there's a bunch of themes that you can find throughout the book. But at the end of it all, like it's a feeling of, okay, like that's what it was like, and you know, I feel this type of way because of perseverance, or I feel this type of way because of this event happened. So Rymon Blues is more of a feeling as it is with rhythm and blues. You know, rhythm and blues is a feeling that you have. A lot of people don't like the same R&B song, but that's because of the feeling that each song gives you. So it's the same thing with Rymon Blues.
That's true. Very well put. Well, we as self-publishers know about the challenges and roadblocks. Did you have any? And if so, how did you overcome them?
I had roadblocks.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely had roadblocks. But I think my roadblocks can be summed up into, I didn't know what I didn't know. And that was my roadblock. Now, I guess if you were to break it down to a bracket, it would be like, didn't know what you wanted, and everything just kind of like, you know, filtered after that.
Yeah.
But I truly didn't know what I didn't know. I guess in the beginning stages, I was just kind of like, oh yeah, write it, send it off, and whatever. And then thanks to you, it was like, nah, like it's not that easy. And it's like, oh man, this sounds like another 2 years. Like, no, it's actually like a week. It's like, oh, okay, I could do a week. It's like, how much is this going to cost? Well, okay,
Right.
maybe I don't have a week. So, so I guess, is I just overcame it just by, I guess, being humble, I guess another process that I learned in like the book of publishing, or the book of being, the world of being an author is very, it's not as competitive as I thought that it would be, per se. And I mean that in a good way. Like, there are a lot of authors, and and there are a ton of it. And the way that I have to think about it, as far as like me humbling myself, is with me not knowing what I didn't know, I had to reach out to more people. With me reaching out to more people meant that I'm now letting people know that I'm writing a book, which, in the dog eat dog world, like, you never let nobody know what you're doing because they can take it, things, or whatever the case may be. But in the networking of authorship, I don't know if that's a word, but in the, in that whole universe, is like, if you know one author, like, three. And it's like so many people just kind of like, recommend you to certain people. Certain people was like, oh yeah, like your writing style is similar to this person. I'm gonna tell you, like, you read their stuff, or like, it's not as it's not as dog eat dog world with it, as I thought it would be. It's not like, oh, okay, well, this person has 1 million copies sold, so like I gotta get to 1 million, therefore like I gotta outdo this person. It's not like that.
Right.
So I think what, along with me being humble and things like that, like, I had to realize, like, and I guess which was a setback as far as me self-publishing it, is the fact that, like, I personally didn't know that I could I could just reach out to certain people and ask, and like, hey, I need a cover done, I need this done, or whatever. And they come back and they're like, yeah, like, this is what I did, or I didn't go that route, I went this route, this may be best for you, it may not be. So just having like those roadblocks of just filling in pieces, because at first it was just kind of like, yeah, like, I'm cool with nobody knowing that I'm gonna do a book, I'll just drop it. And then, you were like, nah, it don't really work that way. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, wait, I gotta get it copywritten? It's like, yeah, like, but you would think like it's common sense. Like, of course you gotta get it copywritten, but it's like, oh yeah, that is right. Like, I do. And so it's a lot of things that I didn't know, but I'm very appreciative that, like, the world that I thought that being an author would be, that it would be so dog eat dog world, that it would be so competitive. And I just kind of, and I think what kind of succumbed some of that was just the fact that, like, everybody don't like everything. Just like there's a bunch of cute people in the world, but everybody ain't cute to everybody. So, so it's like, yeah, like, my book technically is fictional with historical aspects of it, but a lot of people may not even want to be. Now, granted, when you read the book, it's not like I'm beating you over the head with history and things like that. But, in that case, it's also like, it's just like, okay, like, I told people what it's about, and it's like, okay, I'll pass. Like, there's just certain people who's more into fantasy, more into romance or whatever. So, like just that whole part of it, I was just kind of like, okay.
There's so many different genres out there, and I think that's the great thing about being an author and being in that realm is you do find so many people that are willing to help you and offer advice and tell you, what worked for them, and just provide you with suggestions and stuff like that and recommendations. So, that first book is like,
right.
Do you think you would self-publish again?
Unless I get hit with an offer I can't refuse. I mean, I read books for everybody, that has books out and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems so perfect, and that's because it is, like the margins is right. The cover is so perfect to what they're talking about, and There's not one misspelled word. Like there's perfect, like, you know, perfect gaps between each paragraph. You know, like everything is so perfect. And I just feel as though like I've already started self-publishing, so it's like unless I get an offer that I can't refuse, to where it's like, oh, okay, like it would be kind of dumb to not self-publish it, then I'll continue. I'll continue to self-publish. And I feel like because I already know what it is, just like you said, like it's been that moment of exhale for me.
Mm-hmm.
That is like, oh, okay, cool. Like,
right.
It don't take that long, you know.
Right.
Like, you know, it ain't that bad. But getting the first one out,
yes,
you run into, so it's just like, man. So.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. Same here. Okay, so you've got the book out. Look, the cover looks great. Where can people buy your book?
From my website, books by B as in boy.org. The website is actually, you can find more about what the book is about, find things about what it is about me that makes the book interesting or whatever. You can find reviews about the book. So books by B as in boy.org. At the moment, you can use promo code YAAAA YB to get like 10% off of the book. So
okay, you're gonna have to say that promo code one more time.
Yeah, so it's YAAAA. There's 4 A's, Y, and B.
Okay.
So it's like yay B. And,
okay.
And,
all right, so I'm gonna have to put that down in the description.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Just in case. Well, since you've gone through this process, and like we discussed, it's your first, so you know it's your baby. Are there any nuggets of wisdom that you can impart on aspiring writers?
Yeah, I don't have a child, but I guess I can compare it to one. You know, like this whole process for you as the author, for you that is self-publishing, that I found out that it was true for me also, is like, it's more so of like it's more so of like awaiting to give birth to a kid, you know, to a baby. It's like everybody that you come in contact with sees you showing, they want to put their hands on you, you know, ask how's the baby going, what, you know, is it a boy or a girl, when is it due, you know, all of it, like everybody, you know, they say you look cute, you know, when you know, your pregnancy gown and everything or whatever, but when you go home, like nobody sees like you getting up and peeing a lot, like nobody sees like the morning sickness, nobody sees like all of these things, to the point where you are dead tired. So by the time somebody says like, what are you hoping for, and your answer is a healthy baby and for this baby to come out, and that's how it is with the book. Like you go through so much stuff, you go through so much of creating this beautiful thing that you're writing, and you know, you send it to people to, you know, proofread it or whatever, and it's just like, oh yeah, cool, like that's good. Then you send it off to somebody else, okay, yeah, that's good, and then like you tell everybody you're writing a book, and everybody's so excited, whatever, when it's coming out, and everybody is so ready for it to be there, that nobody sees like how much actually goes into it, to the point where when people ask me, am I excited? It's like, the baby ain't even here yet. Like I haven't even got a release date yet. And so it's like, I don't even have time to be excited for it, because I don't even have a release date yet. So that's just kind of what the advice that I can give to you is like, this whole process is going to be like having a kid, you know, just going through everything that nobody sees that happen inside the house. You know, the fact that, you know, like it takes you 2 minutes to roll out of bed. Like, you know, like it's this long process, which probably can take 9 months, you know, whatever, but it's a long process, but much like, you find out when you actually do have a kid, like you find out that it's not perfect. People strip things down. People talk about things. Um, and I guess it's the same thing with movies. Like people interpret movies different ways. Like there's times that like you write things as an author, and you know how it's supposed to sound, and you know how it's supposed to be articulated, and then somebody else read it, and you're like, how did you get that from that? Like,
Right.
it's like
Right.
I never said that. Like the words in the book specifically says this. I don't know how you came up with that. So
Right.
it's like, like people are going to talk about your kid, but it's
Yep.
just like, as long as I'm happy with it, then
Exactly.
like, that's all that matters. And
Exactly.
I'd look at it as don't be discouraged as far as worrying about are there too many authors, are there too many things that are like your book? And probably so, like like somebody probably did write your book already, like it's probably out there, probably same plot, different characters, or whatever the case may be. But what I looked at it to help me push through that whole plateau of me wanting to write the book was I kind of compared it to just like supermarkets, like how many supermarkets sell milk. There's a bunch of them, but I don't stop them from selling milk. Like
Right.
people have their preference. People get milk from Target, people get it from Walmart, some get it from the gas station. Like there's a billion places that sell milk,
And
but it
different
don't
kinds.
stop. Right, different kinds, but it
Yep.
don't stop anybody from stop producing milk. Like
Right.
nobody has a monopoly on milk. So as long as the milk, as long as milk is being produced, like there's no excuse for like you
Right.
not to produce the book because you think like it's over infatuated, because
Right.
it's not. And the last thing that kind of got me over that I can share, with others is like, um, there's not a lot of things that people can leave like for was truly a blessing outside of people consider money and everything, or whatever the case may be, is to do what you truly love whenever you want to. And I know a lot of people say, okay, well, that's me taking vacation, that's me whatever, whatever. But me personally, I found comfort when I got so down writing in my book. Like time just kind of flew by. Like I can start at 10 and it'll be like 8 o'clock before I know it. And my mind would just be so clear. And I don't know if you kind of get that feeling where like you just be in the zone where it's like you're not thinking, you're just typing or whatever.
When
Is
I
it?
have those thoughts, when I have those moments and it wants to flow, yes.
Yeah, right.
But those
Yeah.
moments where it don't want to flow, I'm like,
Yeah, so I mean that's how I felt for a good part of it. Like I was like, my book is only 13 chapters long, and I wrote like maybe like 3 chapters in like a day and a half or whatever the case may be, and it was just so peaceful for me because I wasn't thinking, which is weird because there are some people who have to think when they write. Like, does this sound right? Does this sound right? But it was more so of like I was just effortlessly typing, and then the words just come out. So, but I use that as an opportunity to just say like, there's not a lot of things that people can leave into the world. Like people want to leave money, people want to leave real estate for their kids and things like that. So, seeing as though I don't have that at the moment, I just saw me writing the book as me being my words, me being immortalized. We've been taught since kids that there's only one man on earth who's ever walked this earth that was immortalized. And and it's just something for me to put the book out that like through maybe a plethora of Google searches, my great grandkids can be like, oh, there was somebody that wrote a book. So it's to me, it's more about the legacy part of it. Like
right.
when you put it out, you are immortalized. Like because it was copyrighted, like nobody can type this in without finding, without seeing my name on it. And so it's all about, for me, being immortal. Like my words, my thoughts, my characters, like everybody is immortal. So they're about as real as as skin and bones can be. So those are my 3 snippets that I can give about advice of it.
Well, I loved the book. I love being able to help you with the process. Like you said, it just there were some times it's like,
Yeah.
So with that said, do you have any projects coming up? We're doing a follow up. What's going on with you?
Um, um, can we? Is it revealed that you're working on your second book? Is
Uh-huh.
that it? Oh, okay, cool. So I don't know. What was the time period between you finishing your first one and you writing on your second one?
Okay, so the way my mind works,
Uh-huh.
I actually started 6 books at one time because I would get an idea
Right.
and I would just start typing, and then I
Right.
come up with a block. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna have
Right.
to table that one and come back
Uh-huh.
to it.
Uh-huh.
So as I was finishing up, I finished Trials and Tribulations in 2017,
Mm-hmm.
and I had actually already started on the Trials and Tribulations too.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been so busy with doing other things that I need to get back focused on
Right.
finishing up the sequel.
So the best way I can answer your question, going back to the child thing, is like, can I just enjoy one? Like, can I? Well, I just
Let
have
me enjoy
one.
this one first.
Right. It's not, the book is not asking for a sibling. Can I just enjoy one?
That's awesome. Yes, you can. Yes, enjoy this moment. Well, okay, look, let me ask you this. I know with, a lot of people do book tours and stuff like that, but with COVID, I know that's kind of squashed a lot of stuff. So are you planning on doing any promotion for the book or anything, or?
Yeah, I have a few blogs and YouTube channels and magazine entries that are coming out.
Okay.
I don't have the release date as far as or whatever because they're using COVID as the reason for why everything is being pushed back. But so I don't know when those things are going to be put out, but I don't got that much time, so
right.
It is what it is. But I think they're out of the 19 copies that have been sold. Well, I take that back. It's been more than 19 copies. Out of the 30-something copies that has been sold, a good 11 of them have finished the book so far.
Okay.
And 11 of them did say that they want to see a sequel.
Okay.
The way that my brain works and the way that my body works is, do I see myself having another one at this time? I don't know. But crazier things have happened. So,
You definitely sound like parents who just
right, I'm not,
like, look, let me just get through this.
I'm not going to say the second one. I'm not going to say the second one is an accident. I'm just saying it was heavily prayed for. So
exactly.
I guess one thing that you can kind of tell with this book, with the first one that I put out, is in the fact that, and I don't know if you do this also, but I write backwards. Not because I'm dyslexic or anything, but like I write in a sense of like, I need an ending and then I build everything towards the ending.
I've heard a lot of people say that they do that. I can't do that. But I've heard a lot of people say that they do that.
I tried to do it with, and I shared with you that I was working on a book called Pitch Hitter. Switch Hitter. And that book was like in chapter 4. And I just stopped because I was like, I don't have an ending for it. Like, it's just like, like I wrote it really great. But it was like, if I don't have and the reason why I say I write from the ending backwards is because I don't want a slow reading book that's like 50 pages, and that's 50 chapters long. And it's like, okay, you could have started this at chapter 21. Okay. Like 1 through 20 was, relevant. So I tend to write short books because I write from the ending and then, build from the beginning to the ending. Okay. So I struggle with the fact of writing this, the sequel to Rymon Blues. But, and, I guess, of course I have more to, add on to it if I wanted to. But I just can't find an ending for it. So maybe if that ending come to me, I'll write it. But if the ending don't come, then
it won't be.
Then it don't come. I guess we just have one kid out here.
Wow. Okay. Well, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, Facebook is Stephen Bibbs. Stephen with a PH, not with a V.
Okay.
My Instagram is s.trey, but it's s._III. I have an email. It's smbunchesofbooks@gmail. Those are pretty much 3 platforms that I use where people can reach me and contact me on.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you sitting down and having a discussion with me on that process, Mr. Bibbs.
No problem. I appreciate you having me.
Definitely. So hopefully we'll be able to sit down again.
Anytime, just let me know. I'm good for
All right. Well, it was good talking to you. I will see you next time. And that's another episode of Cocktails and Conversations with Adriana LaFay. Bye, Bibbs.
Bye.